I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of.
Did Caitlin Clark just make the biggest mistake of her career? Her comment about white privilege has left fans disappointed and critics calling her out for pandering.
Hello, you don't own the league. Blacks don't own the league, just like whites don't own tennis or golf. Nobody owns the league. This is America. Anybody can play if they're good enough.
Look, man, she has been sent to the very, very front lines of the culture war.
Okay, the whole notion that she's just been given white privilege, really? Okay, tell that to the greatest black female athletes of all time. Tell that to Serena Williams, the greatest female tennis player of all time. Tell that to FloJo or Jackie Joyner-Kersee, the greatest track and field athletes of all time. Tell that to Lisa Leslie or Diana Taurasi, the WNBA greatest players of all time. Tell that to the greatest gymnast of all time, Simone Biles. It's absolute ridiculous, and she fell for it. She fell for the DEI LGBT thing rather than MEI.
So, should she have simply celebrated her success instead of apologizing for it?
There's been no player in my time of paying attention to women's basketball that has been more polarizing than Caitlin Clark.
Let's go back to where it all began. Caitlin Clark, one of the biggest names in women's basketball today, was named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. This was a massive achievement, not just for her, but for the WNBA as a whole. Clark, the rookie phenom who took women's sports into the mainstream spotlight, should have been celebrating. But in her acceptance interview, she made this statement: "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege." A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. To some, these words seemed thoughtful, an acknowledgement of the players who paved the way.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's understanding. I think it's above her age. I think it's very mature. And it's what she should have said, and we always talk about it in the locker room.
But to others, it felt like pandering, like she was apologizing for her success. The word privilege was a powder keg, and within hours, it blew up. Social media was quick to react, and let's just say it wasn't pretty. Megyn Kelly posted on X, "Look at this. She's all but apologizing for being white and getting attention. The self-flagellation. The, oh, please pay attention to the black players who are really the ones you want to celebrate. Condescending, fake, transparent, sad." One user chimed in with, "Such a disappointment to me and my grandchildren. They looked up to her, but now they look down." Another bluntly said, "Caitlin Clark claiming white privilege is a slap in the face to the fans who supported her for her skill, not her skill color. Selling out to woke narratives pushed by the WNBA Players Union? She just lost the respect of those who bought her tickets." Jason Whitlock, the conservative commentator, took it to a whole new level. He dramatically tore down a poster of Caitlin Clark on his show, claiming she had surrendered to the woke agenda. Jason went as far as to say, "In the very beginning, I wrote that what Clark was going to face was more difficult than what Jackie Robinson going into MLB in 1947, and people thought I was crazy. Robinson faced legitimate death threats, but in every other way, what Caitlin Clark was going to face going into the WNBA was going to be substantially more difficult. And look where we are 8 months later. Caitlin Clark waved the white flag, and she surrendered." Now, I want you to stop and think about that for a second. Comparing Caitlin Clark's situation to Jackie Robinson, one of the most significant figures in civil rights and sports history, might be over the top, but Whitlock's outburst reflects just how divisive this conversation has become. Here's the million-dollar question. Why did Caitlin Clark's statement strike such a nerve? Why did those two words, white privilege, set off a chain reaction? First, let's break down what Clark was trying to say if you look at it from a liberal angle. When she referenced privilege, she wasn't denying her talent, work ethic, or success. She wasn't saying, "I don't deserve this." Instead, she was acknowledging an uncomfortable reality. Visibility in sports has often come easier for white athletes. Take the WNBA, for example. Depending on who you ask, many people generally agree that stars like Sheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, and Maya Moore built this league and dominated the game. But did they get the media attention, endorsement deals, or cultural visibility Caitlin Clark is getting today? Well, Las Vegas Aces star Aja Wilson addressed this very issue. She said, "It's a huge thing. People say it's not about black and white, but to me, it is. You can be top-notch as a Black woman, but people don't see it as marketable. It doesn't matter how hard we work. It doesn't matter what we do. We're still swept under the rug. Wilson isn't the only one. Angel Reese, Clark's NCAA rival and now fellow WNBA player, has also spoken out about the racism she and other Black players face. Reese even said some Iowa and Indiana fans directed hateful, racist remarks toward her. Caitlin Clark's comment was her way of acknowledging that history. She recognized the contributions of Black players and pointed out a reality that others have ignored. So why the backlash? Why did it seem like Clark's words cut so deep? Here's the thing. For many fans, sports are supposed to be a safe space, somewhere we can escape politics, identity issues, and cultural battles. When Clark brought up race and privilege, it hit a nerve because it shattered that illusion. Some fans saw her comment as caving to woke culture, as bending the knee to political correctness. Conservative commentators argued she was virtue signaling, trying to win points with the very people who criticize her for being white and successful. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk tweeted, "Caitlin Clark is getting very bad advice. The whole country is rejecting wokeism and anti-white ideology. Clark had a chance to stay neutral and failed miserably. Her handlers saw this as a chance to keep woke alive. Too bad. She's an amazing athlete who totally missed on this one." It's a sentiment we've seen time and time again. Sports fans are tired of seeing their favorite athletes dragged into political and cultural debates. They want to watch the game, not hear about privilege, race, or gender politics. But here's the irony. Caitlin Clark's statement didn't appease her critics on the other side either. Some players and fans still resent her for her popularity. They see her success as proof that systemic racism continues to favor white athletes, no matter how talented Black players are.
I don't know Caitlin. I don't know her from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, this is hoops. It's competitive.
So, what does Caitlin Clark represent in all of this? Why has she, specifically, become such a lightning rod for controversy? For conservatives, Clark was seen as a breath of fresh air, a small-town girl from Iowa, hardworking, talented, and apolitical. She was a symbol of traditional values, someone who just wanted to play the game. But her comment about privilege flipped the script. Suddenly, she was no longer the hero in this narrative. To some, she became just another athlete pandering to the woke mob. At the same time, racial tensions in the WNBA have been simmering for years. Many Black players feel overlooked, underpaid, and underappreciated. Caitlin Clark's rapid rise to fame has reignited those frustrations, whether she meant to or not. Here's the harsh truth. Caitlin Clark can't win. There's a popular saying that goes, damned if you do, and damned if you don't. If she stays silent on issues of race, she gets accused of ignoring the privilege she benefits from. If she acknowledges it, she's accused of pandering, bending the knee, and alienating her fan base. She's stuck in the middle of a culture war she never asked to join. And let's be honest, this isn't about her talent. Caitlin Clark's numbers speak for themselves. She's a generational talent who's brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball. She's breaking records, drawing huge crowds, and inspiring the next generation of players. But in today's world, talent isn't enough. Every word she says, every move she makes, is scrutinized under a cultural microscope. And that's the real tragedy here. Caitlin Clark didn't sign up to be a symbol of anything. She's a basketball player, a competitor. And yet she's been dragged into a battle that's about so much more than the game. So what happens next? Will this controversy fade, or will Caitlin Clark's comment have lasting consequences? Here's what we know for sure. The WNBA is benefiting massively from Clark's success. Viewership is up. Ticket sales are up. Media coverage is up. But if we can't have honest conversations about privilege, race, and representation without descending into outrage, we're missing the point. One of her fans wrote on X. Caitlin Clark's words were a reflection of reality, whether we like it or not. Another fan wrote this. Caitlin Clark is such a beautiful soul, and this is why people all over the world love Caitlin Clark. A great person inside and outside the court. CC can have a world tour and sell out tickets. That's for sure. I don't think Americans understand how great her impact outside of the US is. And as for Clark herself, she's already said she doesn't focus on the noise. She's here to play basketball, to win games, and to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in women's sports. Now, what do you think? Did Caitlin Clark go too far? Was the backlash fair? Or is this just another example of outrage culture spiraling out of control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're tired of the noise and want more stories that cut straight to the truth, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, keep your head in the game and your eyes on the culture war. Thanks for watching.